All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone in the YouTube universe. Of course, Smoky Saint is coming here today, and we have a little bit of a special show. This is our actual first live interview show with Mr. Darth Dawkins Debunked. Sir, go ahead and say hi and give yourself a little introduction, and go ahead and feel free to mention any of your resources or places where people can find you.
Okay, thank you. Well, very good to be here again. I'm looking forward to this tonight. I think it's going to be very enjoyable. Well, my resources mainly are my YouTube channel, which is Darth Dawkins Debunked, the website. And then I also have the website. There's a link on my channel which, leads to the website. And then I also have the Darth Dawkins Debunked quiz, which the link is also on my channel. So those are the three main links on my channel.
Beautiful. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for showing up. And I have an opening because I have to admit something to the YouTube audience, and something that we haven't actually really even mentioned yet. So I just want to make a confession to you and the YouTube audience.
Over the last week or so, I have been watching a lot of Darth Dawkins videos, and I have to be honest with you all and admit that I have finally been converted to the religion of presuppositionalism by Darth's kind, patient temperament with his debate opponents, and his overall brilliance with how he provides rock-solid, fully logical, substantiated arguments and presuppositions. I reject irrational sociological and spiritual interpretations of Romans 1, saying that people suppress knowledge of God in their unrighteousness, and I accept the Darth Dawkins message of suppression of knowledge with logic and presuppositions. Darth Dawkins, this great, wonderful mind that authored this undefeatable argument, has given me full confidence in this methodology. In fact, I am so confident in this consistently flawless logic that I'm going to challenge and destroy this Darth Dawkins Debunked quiz live on air, having never actually looked at it before. I know that this methodology never ever fails when put to the test, and I have heard that Darth himself has easily destroyed this test. So, it should be no big challenge for his newest, loyal, yet humble acolyte. Come and observe, all of you in the YouTube universe, while I demonstrate the undefeatable and pristinely infallible logic of presuppositional epistemology. In case you yet have any remaining doubts as to my level of confidence, I have also invited the author of this debunked quiz to join me on air while I destroy it and embarrass him publicly. He has foolishly decided to concede to my request and joins us here now.
And with that, dear sir, let's get underway at seeing how your test is going to fail at exposing the perfect logic that is presuppositionalism.
Okay, that sounds very good. I hope that you have great success in passing this quiz. So far, to my knowledge, nobody has passed it yet, but I certainly hope you will be the first one.
I have perfect faith in this flawless presuppositional approach. I believe that there is no challenge that it cannot meet.
Beautiful. Okay, so are you ready? Would you like to?
I am ready. I am ready when you are. I am confident and empowered.
Okay, so the first page, the opening page, it says, welcome to the Darth Dawkins Debunked Worldview Quiz. Please read carefully. All questions on this exam are either true, false, multiple choice, or fill in the blank. Read the question and then click on your choice and then submit. After you click submit, you will be redirected to the next page and you will be given the correct answer and also proceed to the following question. You may take the exam as many times as you desire. It's a good idea to have a notepad handy so that if you score incorrectly, you can go back again on your second attempt or any attempt after that and select the correct answer. The first question is shown below, and remember, while taking this exam, if Darth says it, it must be so.
That might be the only true thing in your whole website, sir. Let's proceed.
Okay, good luck. So question number 1, it said, according to Darth Dawkins, is the biblical God falsifiable? And then the first answer, no. Darth says God is unfalsifiable. The second, yes, Darth says there are ways to falsify the Christian God.
No, I would say no. God is not falsifiable.
Okay, so I'm going to click no, and I'm going to hit submit. Let's see if you get this correct. Sorry about that wrong answer. It says, Darth says, quote, there are ways to falsify the Christian God, unquote, and then it has the video here. Would you like me to play the video so you can hear that?
I demand you to show me this proof that Darth said that.
As you get where I argue, there are ways of falsifying the Christian God. I agree, actually. I think there are ways of falsifying. As you get where I argue, there are ways of falsifying the Christian God.
I did hear him say that the Christian God is falsifiable. I did hear him say that.
Okay, so God is unfalsifiable. Okay, so
if you notice, I even slowed that down and put it in slow motion, if you notice that.
Indeed. There are ways of falsifying the Christian God. Well, apparently he said that.
If Darth says it, it must be so.
No, I guess that's true.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, here we have question number 2. According to Darth, could he be wrong about everything he claims to know? And the first option is no. Darth said no when he was asked that question. Or yes, Darth says it's possible for him to psychologically deceive himself. Ooh, boy. What would my great master Darth say about this? According to Darth, could he be wrong about everything he claims to know? I would say no to that, because he has the knowledge of God, and so he has the knowledge of God. He knows everything for absolute certainty that he knows stemming from God. So I think that's the answer. So let's submit there.
All right, then.
Oh, apparently that's wrong too.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Well, let's see what Darth has to say. I have to listen to the master, so let's see what he says. He's going to correct me here.
What a deception. The possibility of the God. No, that's not a possibility in my worldview. Okay, good. Is it possible for you to believe something else than in God? Is it possible for me to believe in something else than God? Yeah, God in his creation has endowed me with agency to make choices where I psychologically deceive myself. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Well, how about that? Okay, well, I have to accept that. You know what? Darth said it. I must have gotten it wrong.
Questions, if that's all right, everyone. Darth, could you be wrong about everything you claim to know?
No. Is what a deception.
Yeah, don't worry. It's still early. Don't worry. We still got 18 questions.
Well, I just apparently am terrible at this, and maybe I'm just an awful disciple to the great master. But you know what? I'm going to keep trying, because I believe that we can still push through this. I'm going to get something right here. Okay, so according to Darth, how many ways are there to falsify something? Darth said there's only one way you can falsify something, and that's through the law of non-contradiction. Oh boy. And according to Darth, there are several ways to falsify something. Oh boy.
That's a toughie. That's a tough
one. I will admit that is a bit of a tough one. I got to think what I would think the great Darth would say. I think maybe the first one sounds more correct. I think let's try that one.
Okay.
Oh, apparently I got it wrong again.
Well, I'm sorry.
Darth says there are several ways to falsify something according to the videos.
Right? How do you falsify something?
One way might be that you could see that that thing doesn't correspond with reality. In other words, it's not truthful. Or something that's not truthful.
Okay, so what you're saying? Okay, so what you are saying, and I agree with you, is you're making an appeal to the law of non-contradiction and excludability, right?
In a way, you can say that.
Okay, good. Now, in order to falsify A, you have to say not A. Okay? You can only falsify a proposed state of affairs by pointing to a state of affairs that contradicts it.
Okay.
I know I have. The problem is you're not narrowing your focus. Your focus is too wide, and you're scurrying down semi-related rabbit trails. Now, in order to, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. How do you falsify something?
How do you make a falsifiable claim?
No.
How do you falsify a claim?
How do you falsify a proposition?
You show that there's evidence that it's not true. Yeah, you show that there's so if I say that, for example, all birds have wings, right? I can falsify that by showing that there are birds without wings.
That's incorrect, sir. The way
that's wrong.
What you just said is wrong. Okay, the way that you falsify a proposition is to verify the negation of the proposition. Do you understand?
In order to falsify A, you have to say not A. Okay? You can only falsify a proposed state of affairs by pointing to a state of affairs that contradicts it. Stop and reconsider your assumptions. You're giving me more mumbo jumbo. How do you falsify something without I'll keep on repeating my question until I get an adult answer. How do you falsify something without the law of identity and non-contradiction?
Well, how about that? I guess I got another one wrong. I'm proving myself to not be such a great disciple here.
I think you could falsify it by showing there's many different ways. But one of them would be...
Yeah, there's only one way you can falsify something. That's through the law of non-contradiction.
Well, now, let me ask you a question. Let's just stop for a second. I need to ask you something, okay?
Sure.
Well, actually, I want to say something. I actually believe, you're kind of getting off to a slow start, but I think it really, I hate to tell you this, but it's people like you. I think that's the reason for this country why they have to put instructions on shampoo bottles.
People like me?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because you're really slow. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're pretty slow right now.
Slow at going through the questions?
No, slow at getting the correct answers.
Oh, well, I guess you're right. You know what? I guess I have to give it to you. But you know what? I'm not going to let that be an impugn on Darth. I'm not going to sit here and let you be that an impugn on Darth. You know what? I'll accept it. I will accept it. I will accept the fact that, you know what, maybe I'm still new at this. I'm still his newest little apostle, his newest little follower, and so maybe I don't get it right. But you're not going to impugn my master by saying that I can't get these right. That's just on me. That's just on me. I'm sure, I'm confident if Darth himself was to come into this room and do this quiz, that he could absolutely destroy it where I have failed.
Tear it up. He would tear it up, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so I might just be getting it wrong. I apparently have not been following Darth closely enough or listening to him enough. So let's let this probably fall on me, and I will admit, I will concede to you, sir. I will concede to you that I am slow, at this particular thing. I'm trying, and I appreciate your patience with me.
Okay, let's get ready. Let's get back to the subject.
All right, then. Question number 4. According to Darth, can one hold a neutral view about God? Oh, no, my goodness. Oh, boy. I already know that's a no. I don't think I need to answer it. I mean, we all know that there's a God. Romans 1 told us this, okay? And Darth has told me that Romans 1 tells all of us that we all know for absolute fact that there is a God, and some of us are just suppressing it, okay? So I know that this is going to have to be false, right? Wait, according to Darth, can one hold a neutral view about God? I'm going to say no. False. They cannot hold a neutral view of God.
Okay.
There we go. Let's submit. Oh, apparently I have something wrong. Let's see the
Yeah,
video.
sorry, we got that one wrong. Sorry.
Okay, random. There are three basic positions on the existence of God. One can affirm the existence of God, one can deny, and one can remain neutral, such as an agnostic, where you don't know whether or not God does or does not exist. So if it's your position that you neither affirm or deny the existence of God, then the best word that you should use in order not to be confusion in common parlance is to call yourself an agnostic.
Well, my. How about that? I got it wrong again.
So somebody could be neutral about the existence of Zeus. Okay? But you can't be neutral about that which is ultimate. Can you be neutral about the ground of all being? No, you can't. Well, so there are some things,
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. You know what? I remember. I think in a stream the other night, Darth called me stupid. I think I might have to concede to that.
No, I think he didn't say stupid. He said you're a moron.
Oh, I'm a moron. Sorry. Well,
Yeah.
that's extra proof I'm stupid. I couldn't even remember what insult he used.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's extra proof, and that's on me, unfortunately. So, okay, well, you know what? We're going to keep pushing at it. I'm going to keep trying here. All right,
Okay.
question number 5.
Good luck.
Since atheists can't justify their worldview, and because their worldview is incoherent and unintelligible, of course it is, they have no basis to believe or understand or know anything at all, not even their own existence, of course. He does not agree with any statement made from an atheist worldview. Is this true or false? True, Darth does not agree with anything in an atheist worldview. Or false, Darth has agreed with atheists before. Well, I know that Darth really, really hates atheists, so I'm kind of inclined to not think he would ever agree with them. But it's also pretty philosophically disingenuous to say that you kind of don't agree with any of them. So is he? I don't think he's dishonest. I think he would want to be honest with the statement. I would expect that of my good Christian teacher. So I would say Darth does not agree with anything in the atheistic worldview. I think that makes sense. So let's see. Oh my! I've made another faux pas. Unfortunate. Let's see what this has to say.
Oh, okay.
Right? How do you falsify something?
One way might be that you could see that that thing doesn't correspond with reality. In other words, it's not truthful. Or something was not truthful.
Okay, so what you're saying? Okay, so what you are saying, and I agree with you, is you're making an appeal to the law of non-contradiction and excluded middle, right?
In a way, you can say that.
Okay, good. Now, in order to falsify A, you have to say not A. Okay? You can only falsify a proposed state of affairs by pointing to a state of affairs that contradicts it.
Well, that kind of settles it to me. You can always falsify by pointing to a set of affairs that falsifies it. So that just sounds like perfectly non-circular, valid logic all together right there. So Darth said it.
because we've gone over this.
The laws of logic.
Okay,
so we agree that something cannot
that doesn't
come
answer
from
the
nothing.
question.
Can we agree that something cannot come from nothing? I can't agree with you because your worldview doesn't have a foundation.
Neither does yours.
Unless you want to argue for it. Do you want an argument?
That's not what I asked, is it? Can we agree that something?
I cannot agree because we have two different worldviews. So any
I don't have a worldview.
I do not agree with anything in your worldview, okay?
Okay.
Now,
you don't believe in contradictions being found?
I do not believe that you can demonstrate from within your worldview that contradictions are always invalid. Now, my question to you...
I guess I'm really bad at this. I'm going to have to readjust my entire perspective of Darth's arguments. I apparently am just a disaster here, but let's continue. Let's try to keep pushing. Darth, I'm sorry to my great master of presuppositional genius. I'm so sorry that I am potentially failing you here. I am trying to do my best, but I also have to go with what you teach, because this is all your words, and you are the master of this presuppositional approach. So I'm trying to learn from you. I appreciate Debunked here putting these questions in here to let me know where I'm going so terribly wrong. So question number 6, according to Darth, is it possible to do a coherent internal critique from another worldview other than one's own worldview? Oh my goodness. Well, the first option is no. One cannot do a coherent internal critique from a worldview other than their own, or yes, one can do a coherent internal critique from outside of their own worldview. I'm going to go with no. I think no is an appropriate answer. I believe that's right. Oh, apparently not. Apparently not. Oh, well, let's see if we can get this to play.
How can you ask these questions without running a world?
No, I could temporarily assume that logic is dependent on Zeus to do an internal evaluation. For example, I can do an internal evaluation. I can do an internal evaluation of any worldview and temporarily assume it to do an internal critique. You can do that. Hold on a second. You can do that. You can do an internal critique of any worldview while temporarily assuming that it is a case, and then moving from there to see that if it's internally consistent. Now, I'm asking. I'll ask.
Well. Another one wrong. Another one wrong. How unfortunate. How unfortunate. Well, Darth, I submit to your incredible wisdom in that statement. So I apparently I failed you yet again.
Me, even hypothetically, any other worldview that is not your own is a contradiction in terms.
How?
Because all worldviews are mutually exclusive to all other worldviews. Your worldview contradicts every other worldview. My worldview contradicts every other worldview. So you cannot invoke out of your worldview, let's say it's worldview X. You don't even have to tell me what your worldview is. But if you're speaking from worldview X, from worldview X, you cannot propose that worldview W is a viable contender or even a potential contender.
Oh, okay.
Because such a statement will contradict your worldview X.
Okay, I understand. So,
and you're going to have to tell me what is ultimate in your worldview that does provide for human intelligibility. Appealing to other worldviews, even hypothetically, is a contradiction in terms.
Is the one that you're speaking from. You can't appeal to any other worldview because.
Well, you could do an internal critique.
No, an internal critique can only be launched from a coherent worldview. If I do an internal critique of Islam, I'm going to have to do so from a base, from a Christian worldview.
Well, no, I think the point of an internal critique is to step into the other's shoes and see if everything makes sense and follows.
Right. But the point is, when you do an internal critique, you're doing so to expose the incoherence of that worldview. But to do a critique means that there's a coherent worldview to critique from.
Well, you don't really have to critique from a coherent worldview to point out an incoherency in a different worldview.
No,
right?
wrong. Okay, if you're going to do a reasoned evaluation, that reasoned evaluation has to come from a model of reality. What would that be?
And something else I wanted to point out is
I asked you a question. I said if you're going to do a reasoned analysis,
I wanted to say something else.
Well, I'd like to finish my question.
You can ask
if you're going to do an internal critique, which is a reasoned analysis, one's worldview is going to have to provide for that.
Provide for what?
To do an internal critique. For example, can I do an internal critique of Islam without there being a worldview that can provide for the metaphysical intelligibility of reason?
I don't think that grounding the metaphysics of reason is something that needs to be established
you're not critique. You're not getting this. Okay. An internal critique. Okay, is an internal critique of Islam? Is that a reasoned process?
Yeah.
Okay. Does a reasoned process have to be done within a model of reality that provides for the metaphysical intelligibility?
I think I would say no.
Then there's no basis to reason about anything then.
Well, let's try question number 7. True or false? According to Darth, our most basic fundamental cognitive reasoning is God ordained, which necessarily means they can't be assumptions. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. True, Darth says our most basic cognitive functions are God ordained, not assumptions. Or false, Darth said that he assumes basic cognition from within his worldview. Ooh, I think the first one sounds more appropriate. Darth says our most basic cognitive functions are God ordained, not assumptions. I would say that that's true because we have absolute perfect presuppositional knowledge. So let's go with the first one then, I think. Oh, apparently not again. Oh man. This isn't going well for me here, apparently.
Grow up, act like an adult in these rooms, but you see, I'm assuming that from within my worldview that the God of the Bible has endowed you with certain basic cognitive reasoning faculties. But you see, I'd like to speak without being interrupted. I really would appreciate it.
By the way, Godless, if you're here, I did send you the link in Discord. So you actually do have it if you haven't come in yet. I sent it to you a while ago. So you can actually come into the back studio. I sent it to you on Discord, private message. Okay, well, I got that one wrong again. A disaster. Just a disaster. I'm so sorry, Darth. I think I'm just failing him.
Now, when you stated that my position, or someone like myself, like Cy, is just assuming it, we're assuming it. If your statement is true, then it necessarily follows the falsity of the Christian God. Are you aware of that? But the issue is simply this: you are stipulating from your model of reality that our most foundational beliefs are assumptions, which means that they are not providentially ordained by God. Now, if it is the case that my most foundational commitment, that the Christian God has revealed himself in natural and special revelation, and if that ultimate commitment and foundational belief that I have is, in fact, arbitrary, as you say, that necessarily follows that the Christian God does not exist. Okay, listen, you're wrong. Okay, let me explain to you why. Okay? When Adam opened up his eyes in the biblical narrative, okay, he was made in the image of God. Okay, there were certain baseline cognitive functioning that was providentially endowed, that God endowed Adam and Eve with, and were passed on through biological reproduction. Okay, now if
these basic mental states are a providential endowment, then by definition, they're not assumptions. Now, okay, listen carefully. Now, if they are indeed assumptions, then it follows necessarily that those basic mental states are not providential endowments by the God of the Bible, which means the God of the Bible, listen, which necessarily entails the God of the Bible doesn't exist. Now, I will ask you a simple question that I've...
Question number 8. According to Darth, which of the following is his starting point? Oh boy. Letter A, your presupposition can be considered your fundamental starting point. B, you have to start with the laws of logic. C, you start with the case that the Christian God exists. D, you start with the case that God exists and has revealed himself. Or E, Darth said, before we can discuss God or anything else, you have to understand that there are certain rules of thinking. Oh, well, that's definitely the right one. That's definitely that last one. The moment I read it, I know that's got to be it for sure. I'm correct. Did I actually get one? Oh my God, did I actually get one right? Did this actually happen, Mr. Debunked? Did this here? I got you on mic, unmuted. Did I finally get one correct?
Yeah, you did. You absolutely got that correct. Congratulations.
Amazing. Well, you know what? It was bound to happen, right? It was bound to happen. I was excited to make that happen. Well, let's see. All of them are Darth's starting. Oh boy. Oh well. Wait a minute. Well, this says here that all of them are Darth's starting point.
Yeah, you got all of them correct. Every one of them is Darth's starting point. That is absolutely correct.
If your presuppositions are built upon these other things, then I'm not seeing how they would be considered presuppositions. Don't they just follow from your more basic beliefs of these acts of revelation?
Well, your presupposition could be considered what your fundamental starting point is, or your ultimate commitment.
Right, but your
and
starting
in my
point
case,
it's not these well, you're saying they're your presuppositions and that they're your starting point, but yet you're justifying them with something prior to them.
Is that how they establish that there are laws of thought, laws of logic? You have to start with the laws of logic as a necessary starting point to even begin to then turn around in retrospect, talk about the laws of logic.
Of inference. Do you think that that's irrational by definition?
I don't believe, unless you start from that it is the case that the Christian God exists, that you have any basis for rationality.
No, I'm not arbitrary. You see, my starting point is that the Christian God exists and that He has revealed Himself. What I'm saying is, now, before we can discuss God or anything else, you have to understand that there are certain rules of thinking.
That is a no-brainer. That's correct.
Well, that is unfortunate. Well, you know what? Shows me I should have been paying better attention. All right, well, let's do question number 9.
Do you mind? Can I stop you for a minute and just give you a tip on strategy?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
Please, yes, help me out here.
Okay, this is a tip. What I want you to do is put yourself in Darth's shoes. Just try to think the same way that he would think. You've heard of that expression before, put yourself in another person's shoes.
Absolutely,
right?
And that's what I've been certainly trying to do. I must just not get it very well.
So just make sure that you have a clean pair of socks and some talcum powder. Okay?
I'm doing my best, absolutely. I'm
okay.
Doing my best here. Okay. All right, question number 9. Which of the following words means a statement of fact or a proposition with respect to the context or system that it is derived from? A, meaning, or B, intelligibility? Oh boy. Oh boy, that's a tough one. I might just have to guess at that. I think I'm just going to have to guess at that because that's a tough one. I don't think I'm good enough of a disciple. Let's see. Is it A, meaning? Oh, I'm correct. Oh wait.
You got another one.
But according that they're apparently both correct. So according to Darth, both words have the same meaning. Oh no. Well, let's see here.
Suppose
Okay, so you have to have a metaphysics before you can have intelligibility for science.
Except I still haven't agreed to your whatever definition of intelligibility that you posted.
I wrote down. Well, I'll repeat it again for you. I wrote down intelligibility. That means a statement of fact or a proposition or predication, meaning with respect to the context or system that it is derived from. You cannot
define meaningful. Define relate.
Meaning means that a proposition means something with respect to the system or context that it exists in.
That's what you said about intelligibility. So now you're using the same definition.
Okay. Yeah. You're right now. You're just simply being argumentative. You are not addressing my question.
You're using the same definition term. So
you're repeating the same objection, which is not answering my question. How do you derive meaning? How do you derive meaning for?
Well, Darth said it. Apparently, they do have the same meaning. He said it. You picked that out, sir. Well, I guess we just have to keep moving on then. Question. We're halfway through. And I've at least gotten 2 correct, right? So I'm doing okay here so far, right? I think we're handling it okay. What do you think?
Just get your program together. Now I'm kind of getting impatient. I'm losing it over here. Just get your program together.
Well, I'm going to do my best. Don't start acting like my lovely mentor. You don't need to. That's his tactics that are reserved for him. So I understand. Let's move on. Let's see what we got here.
Question 10. According to Darth, if you hold a neutral position, should you refer to yourself as an agnostic? Yes, because according to Darth, if you are neutral, the best way to describe yourself is to call yourself an agnostic, or no, because according to Darth, agnostics are really atheists. I think maybe the second one. Apparently not.
Okay, random. There are 3 basic positions on the existence of God. One can affirm the existence of God, one can deny, and one can remain neutral, such as an agnostic, where you don't know whether or not God does or does not exist. So if it's your position that you neither affirm or deny the existence of God, then the best word that you should use in order not to be confusion in common parlance is to call yourself an agnostic.
I would need the great master himself to explain that to me.
So you see, the atheists who try to maintain, they try to soft soap their atheist, not strong atheism, but they'll say, well, I'm just an agnostic atheist. No, you're not. You're a full-blown atheist. Not you, but I'm just saying, atheist. Everyone's. If you're not a theist, then you're an atheist. Even agnostics are atheists. They just don't realize it. If we can sit there and say, I reason that God's existence is undetermined.
All right. Well, question 11. According to Darth, is God by definition personal and ultimate? No, according to Darth, if one says that X is established by definition, only that means X is arbitrary. Well, first off, that definitely sounds like something Darth would say in an almost verbatim format. So I'm almost inclined to go with that one. The second one is, yes, God is personal and ultimate. Oh, but that one too, that sounds right as well. Oh boy. I gotta pick one. I feel like the first one sounds a lot like his type of wording. Like that sounds like almost a quote of his. So even though I don't think I quite understand it, or I don't think I quite understand what that statement even is actually saying, it sounds like the type of thing that he might say. So I think I'm just going to go with that and see if I can learn something here. Oh, and it apparently is wrong. Okay, well let's learn from my master yet again.
Now, if you'd like to tell me that you can have laws of logic, you can have inference rule, ask you to explain your model of reality, what is its ultimacy, what are its properties and attributes, and how does it, how or why all possibility and impossibility? Because when you reject God, let's be clear as to what we're rejecting philosophically. Personal, which I don't think you would dispute by definition, mind you. By definition, God is personal. God is ultimate. Okay? He is the ground.
Well, how about that? How about that? Okay, well.
Okay. When you asserted that the law of non-contradiction is established by definition only, okay, then it's arbitrary. So then what you were saying is you're...
I guess let's continue. Question number 12. True or false? According to Darth, a worldview is either true in its entirety or it is not entirely true. Well, let's see here. True or false? According to Darth, a worldview is either true in its entirety or it is not entirely true. Well, I think it would have to be true in its entirely. The first option is true. Darth has said that a worldview is either true in its entirety or it is not entirely true. False. Darth says that unbelievers can make some true statements even though their statements conflict with their worldview. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. I think I'm going to go with the top one. Oh, no, apparently that's wrong. All right, well, let's see. Let's get corrected.
Unbelievers can make true statements even though their statements conflict with their worldview.
But how does that? But you are not equipped to make comments on his worldview by the very nature that you said that he. By the very nature that he cannot make statements about.
You're not understanding. You ask me how we can have common ground. We have common ground because we're both creatures made to operate in the world that God created. So okay. in spite of his rebellion, that he is a creature, all right? In spite of his fact that he's in rebellion, he can still make some statements that are true, even though they conflict with his foundation. They're true only because the God of the Bible exists.
How do they?
Well. All right, well, Darth educated me on that. I apparently got it wrong.
Or not. Okay.
The thing is, that goes against
the worldview. A worldview, in terms of its ultimacy, is either true in its entirety, or it is not entirely true. The thing is, the law of a listen. You know what? Why don't you just listen and learn? Okay.
No, because he doesn't want anybody. He doesn't like people. The thing is, what John's talking, you have been talking for a while, okay?
You know what? Okay,
you have been talking for a while, okay? I have the right to contra-argument what you're saying.
You're an idiot. Goodbye.
Well, let's keep pushing through. Question number 13, true or false? Darth says that you cannot be agnostic about ultimate reality or God. True, Darth has said that one can be agnostic about ultimate reality or God, or false? Darth has said that one cannot be agnostic about ultimate reality or God. Well, I know, again, based upon Romans 1, that everyone has complete ultimate knowledge of God. So I'm going to think you can't actually be agnostic, because if you're following from Romans 1 and the presuppositional approach that everyone has fundamental knowledge of God, then it would have to be false, I would think. So let's do that. Oh, apparently not. Okay, well, let's see.
Okay, random. There are three basic positions on the existence of God. One can affirm the existence of God, one can deny, and one can remain neutral, such as an agnostic, where you don't know whether or not God does or does not exist. So if it's your position that you neither affirm or deny the existence of God, then the best word that you should use in order not to be confusion in common parlance is to call yourself an agnostic.
Well, there's that.
About that you possess mental faculties, because if you were, how could you say, I don't know whether God exists or not? That would be a contradiction. So, for example, if I say to you, I don't know or believe that God exists or does not exist, okay? Now, that sounds like a reasonable position. because we can be agnostic about a whole list of things. Okay? Now, but you can't be agnostic about all, because to verbalize, I don't know that God exists, I don't know whether what reality is to stipulate that you are in possession of a singular fact without reference to ultimate reality. Okay? How, if you possession of a singular fact without reference to ultimate reality, that's a statement about ultimate reality. That means that ultimate reality or God are not necessary in order to be in possession of a singular fact. And if a singular fact without reference to position point, then it necessarily follows from that position God does not exist.
Okay, well, I don't know. Mr. Debunked, do you have any thoughts on my performance here?
Okay, well, yeah, I do have a thought. You know, really, you do inspire me. You inspire me to invent new words such as douche-tard.
You know what? I don't even think I can fight that. Because I think I've just been performing terribly. You know, I don't even know. I mean, what can I do? I mean, what can I do? I'm answering the questions the best way that I think my master has told me to. And he's correcting me in the very videos. So what can one do?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, here's what you do. After we finish with this exam, you don't have to do this tonight, but tomorrow I want you to get in your car and drive to the college where you got your degree, and go into the administration office and ask for a refund.
I think I might have to. I think I might have to.
You lost your money, definitely. You lost your money.
Hey, what can I do? I mean, I can't argue with my master. He's the one correcting me here. I apparently am just getting his epistemology completely wrong. It's all falling on me. It's all my failure. I only hope that Darth will at some point come in here to my stream and correct me where I got all of these horrible points wrong, or adjust me, because I thought I had completely different impressions. I've been watching debates and streams of Darth now for going on weeks, and I thought I had it nailed down. I thought I understood exactly how his argument works, but apparently I am just a massive failure. So I'm convinced, but you know what? I'm still going to push through. I'm still going to push through, and I'm going to see if I can at least show that I have gleaned some appropriate knowledge from the great Master Darth. So okay. I'm going to try. So I'm still going to try here.
You still have 7 more left, okay? Don't give up.
All right. Okay, I'm going to give it a go. Here we go. All right. What is Darth's view concerning the uniformity of nature? Oh boy, I'm not sure if I've heard him address that. This might be a little bit of a guess. The uniformity of nature is an assumption, and Darth says that assumptions are arbitrary and are like a world of make-believe. Or Darth says that the uniformity of nature is the fundamental bedrock assumption of all science and empirical endeavors. I feel like that first one sounds right. No, I think the second one. I think the second one sounds better. Oh, you know what? Godless is here. I want to bring her in because she was getting mad at me. She was getting mad at me because she thought I was ignoring her, and I sent her the link almost right after I started the stream. I apologize to you, Godless. I thought you heard me.
It's my fault. I didn't.
Because I said it like 3 times. I thought, like in the stream, or maybe 2 times. I said, "Go check your Discord server," and I sent it in the chat. So I was like, "She's got to find it, right?" So I sent the invite right away.
It didn't pop up with the notification on Discord. I don't know why. So okay. It wasn't your fault.
Okay, I just wanted to clear the air there. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I saw you guys taking the quiz. That was hilarious, but it was really bad audio for the video part.
Yeah, you know, the first 8 or so questions, brother, we got to work on that to amp up that audio for you. But the rest of these videos, I think, have been okay, right, Godless?
Yeah, and Darth Dawkins Debunked, you have some, when you're not talking, you should mute your mic because there's feedback.
Yeah, that too. And I've been trying to do that as well as we've been going through it. So yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Godless. Godless, you can stay in here. I'm just going to put you in the back room, but I'm going to keep you here, and you can come in once we wrap this up. Okay, so question number 4. I'm going to try real hard here. I'm embarrassed I'm embarrassed, not for Darth. This isn't on Darth, okay? I know, I said on the last stream that I know that Darth is intelligent, that I know that Darth is super smart. This is not on Darth, okay? These failures are on me, and not being able to appropriately understand what he sees about reality and epistemology. So all of this is on me. This is not a failure of Darth. I hope that he will come in and correct me. I do. I hope he will come in and give me his knowledge and show me exactly how this is supposed to work, because apparently I'm just getting it mostly wrong. And thank you Debunked for providing this information to help correct me so that I don't go against my master. I appreciate at least that much, that you have provided exhortation from my master so that I don't go astray.
Well, I appreciate you like my positive feedback. I really appreciate that.
Wonderful. Well, let's try to push forward together, shall we?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute so we can get through the next one. Okay. Here we go. What is Darth's view concerning the uniformity of nature? I believe I said the first one. The uniformity of nature is an assumption, and Darth says the assumptions are arbitrary and are like a world of make-believe. Or Darth says that the uniformity of nature is the fundamental bedrock assumption of all science and empirical endeavors. I don't feel like the second one is something he would say. Let's see if the first one is it. Let's see here. Oh, the wrong answer. Oh boy. Okay, let's see what this is.
The DNA, does that assume the uniformity of nature?
I don't know. I don't know if it does or not. I think that's a Christian term, uniformity of nature, that you guys use. I don't think that's something they use in the science.
Actually, the assumption of all science and empirical endeavors.
Oh, okay. Well, beautiful.
Oh, well, how about that? Yeah, you know what? Susan, you're right. Susan, my mod, is calling me out, and I have to agree with her. Susan, you're right. I am dumb. I mean, if I can't even get past a Darth exam, and Darth said he destroyed this, I believe. I had heard a couple people saying that Darth had been bragging about destroying this exam, and I'm just failing miserably. So I'm hoping that he would be able to eventually come in and correct me. Let's see the next video.
You hold to the actuality of the uniformity of nature as a foundational starting point for intelligibility and rationality. You adopt it due to the impossibility of denying it.
Right, but I do have a circulation.
So you accept a foundational principle upon which all intelligibility derives from, a precondition that the denial of which without will result in unintelligibility.
Well, there it is. And I guess I only got 6 more to go. Well, boy, oh boy, we got to do it. I'm an absolute failure. I apologize to my mentor, Darth. I'm sorry.
Your position you consider to be a circular one.
Any appeal to ultimate authority is circular.
Yeah, I agree with you. Is that not a problem for you?
No.
Why not?
Why?
Yes.
What other means is there other than appealing to an ultimate authority for justification?
That's down.
Assumptions.
Okay, yeah. What that is that's an appeal to arbitrariness.
Sure. I mean, both are conceptually equivalent, I would say, in terms of
that's incorrect, because Donald Trump is president.
Are the facts that you speak here arbitrary, or do they have an ultimate and final grounding?
They're just as arbitrary as yours.
Okay, are you conceding here tonight that your worldview and all of the dependent statements that are derived from it are entirely arbitrary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you just admitted that your atheism is irrational.
Just like yours, Duncan.
Okay, then, but that here you're not understanding. If you start with an assumption and then you build on an assumption, okay, if you start with assumption X and you say, therefore Z, okay, the assertion of Z depends upon assumption is arbitrary. Therefore, the assertion of this as well.
Virtually every assumption we make, or more appropriately, a hypothesis.
Yeah, a metaphysic.
Question number 15. Which of the following statements, according to Darth, is true? Number 1, there is nothing that is self-evident. Or number 2, there is something that is self-evident. Oh boy. Self-evident. My goodness, that's a tough one. Well, God, I would think, is self-evident through the presuppositional interpretation of Romans 1. So I think I'm going to have to go with the second one, because that seems to follow in line with the presuppositional approach, in my opinion. So let's try that. Oh, I'm correct again. Oh, Darth says nothing is self-evident, and also says that something is self-evident. Well, apparently I would have gotten it right either way.
There is nothing that is self-evident. Nothing. Okay?
Well, how do we know that we know?
Okay, how do we know that we know?
Because we know.
You don't know that.
No, exactly.
You're not a Christian.
I'm trying to explain to you, okay? Remember we discussed before. Okay, now.
Well, how about that? Okay, well let's see self-evident here.
Yeah, I up the Bible and read God's revelation.
So you do trust your eyes then?
When I went out at the sun, the moon, and the stars, the heavens declare the glory word. It's
okay,
just
cool.
Self-evident.
Well, I see logic, and I see the.
And see, that's what I would have believed his answer would have been, was that second one, but he said the other one too. So you know what? I'm probably too dumb to figure out how those two can be reconciled. This is something on me. Darth the Master would have to explain that, how he reconciles those two statements, because I don't have the intelligence. Darth called me stupid, and he's right. He called me stupid, and I have to agree with him, because I don't know as his disciple how to reconcile this. I don't. I would need his direction and his guidance to be able to tell me. So that's unfortunate. Let's see this other clip here.
I didn't ask you if you know. So you keep on switching. You're answering a question I didn't ask.
May I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, but I'd like an answer to my question. Are you willing now to assert?
I want to quickly unpack the underlying logic to show you that you're acting like there's only two truth conditions when that's not necessary.
I'm still waiting for an answer to my question.
So here's what I'm going to do, Duncan. I'm gonna keep you in the chat, but I'm going to take you on mute for a minute so I can explain something to you. I want you to listen to me, because I don't think you're listening to me.
Yeah, well, then when I again,
I think you're talking at me, but you're not listening to me.
No, I asked you a question, and you're being evasive.
That's a possible interpretation. Okay.
It's self-evident.
That's according to you.
I never thought I'd hear self-evident used as a slur before, but I guess there's a first time for everything, guys.
But here's what we're going to do.
God reveals himself to you in a self-evident way. Everything that you see is evidence of something that is eternal.
Well, they must both be true, and I'm just too dumb to figure it out. What do you think, Debunked? Is it just this is just on me, right? Because Darth said both of them, so I just must not be able to figure it out. I'm just stupid, like he said.
Okay, now I don't want to sound insulting. I don't want you to take this personally, okay? But I need to ask you something. Do you have a history of any mental problems?
Well, I didn't before today, but maybe this is part of the problem. Maybe,
what about your mom and dad?
Maybe I'm starting to unveil a few right now in this situation, going through this. I think that might be what's happening.
What about your mother and father? What about them? They have any problems?
Oh yeah, no, my dad is crazy. So yeah, absolutely. There probably is a little bit of history there for sure.
How about brother-in-law or sister-in-law?
Oh no, I'm an only child. So.
Okay, all right then. Just checking.
No, we don't have a good litmus test for my stupidity other than Darth. I listen to Darth. I submit to Darth. He is the great teacher. He is the great knower of these things, and he said that I'm stupid. So or a moron. I'm sorry. I keep misquoting him because I'm so stupid.
Yeah, don't misquote him.
I can't do that. I apologize to Darth again for misquoting him. He said I'm a moron. So I'm clearly just displaying that. I was willing to submit to his great authority and his great, incredible, superior knowledge, and apparently I'm just getting it wrong. I can't reconcile these great truths, and apparently he has figured it out in ways that I just can't. So I'm feeling a little disappointed. I'm hoping he will ultimately be able to correct me. Well, let's click on the image. It says, even I can't pass this quiz due to the impossibility of contrary. Well, you know what? I think that Darth would accept that challenge. I think he can reconcile these things that me and my poor, ignorant brain can't possibly do. So I hope he will come on stream and take up that challenge. Question number 16. According to Darth, can the uniformity of nature be used to support and or stipulate a scientific position based on observation of the results of experiment X? First option, no, because Darth says that the results from all scientific observations are provisional and that science is not in a position to declare anything that is true in such a way that they cannot be wrong. Therefore, any test results that you get from test X are provisional, and if they are provisional, then one cannot claim that it is necessarily the case. Well, that's pretty complex, but that kind of sounds to run in line with Darth. Or yes, because Darth says that the uniformity of nature is the fundamental bedrock assumption of all science and empirical endeavors. Every scientist who enters into a laboratory and conducts experiments, every single one must assume it. That doesn't sound like Darth, because that doesn't sound like relying upon the presuppositional argument of the existence of God. So I think I'm going to have to go with no. I think I'm going to have to go with the first one. So let's click that. Oh, and I got it wrong. Well, let's see. Let's have Darth correct me. Darth, please correct me, sir. Please.
The DNA, does that assume the uniformity of nature?
I don't know. I don't know if it does or not. I think that's a Christian term, the uniformity of nature, that you guys use. I don't think that's something they use in the science.
Actually, the assumption of all science and empirical endeavors.
Oh, okay. Well, beautiful.
The DNA, does that assume the uniformity of nature?
I don't know. I don't know if it does or not. I think that's a Christian term, the uniformity of nature, that you guys use. I don't think that's something they use in the science.
Actually, the assumption of all science and empirical endeavors.
Oh, okay. Well, beautiful.
Oh, wow. Well, that didn't sound right. It didn't sound right to me. It really didn't. But he did say it. So again, I've made a huge error. Let's see the other one.
Sure. Excuse me. The uniformity of nature is the bedrock assumption of all empiricism. Every scientist who enters into a laboratory and conducts experiments, every single one must assume the uniformity of nature. Otherwise, if they don't, doing observation, testing, and repeating is meaningless.
Well, I didn't think that sounded right, Debunked. I didn't think it sounded right. I thought I was representing him well on that. I thought I made the appropriate guess. Apparently, I did not.
Begging the question, other than saying I have no reason otherwise to believe it. Other than that, you have not demonstrated, other than you have confidence that there is a uniformity of nature, that you have not demonstrated that it is the case that there is a uniformity of nature.
Yeah, and neither has Darwin.
The results from all scientific observations are provisional. Okay? Science is not in a position to declare anything that is true in such a way that they cannot be wrong. Therefore, any test results that you get from a DNA test are provisional.
Therefore, if they are provisional, then one cannot claim that it necessarily is the case. Because if it is necessarily the case, then it would by default not be a provisional conclusion. So that.
What I want you to do is I want you to take about a 30-second break, and I'm going to give you some positive feedback, okay?
Oh, good. Oh, I can't wait, please.
Let's just take about 30 seconds. Now, I want to give you a little bit of background about myself. Have you ever heard of Charles Manson?
Yes, I have.
Okay, he passed away.
I'm not that dumb. Thank God I'm not that dumb.
Well, he passed away a few months ago, but I actually was his cellmate in prison. So I got to know him pretty good, and he taught me a lot about philosophy. And so I do believe, if he ever was to actually meet you, he would actually call you a loon. You are a loon.
I'm a loon.
You are pathetic.
I have to accept it.
What I want you to do.
The evidence is incontrovertible. The evidence of my failure, of my disastrous mental failings, are so blatantly evident that I cannot reconcile these things. I have failed. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Darth's methodologies are flawless, and I am getting them wrong all over the place. And you know what? He has ways to reconcile these. I'm sure of it. He can't be wrong. His presuppositional approach is infallible. So I know he has ways to reconcile this. I concede. I concede what you said, Darth. I am a moron. I can't possibly figure it out. Please, I hope you will come educate me at some point. Truly, I need your help on this. Question number 17. I'm going to put you back on mute there, Debunks.
Oh.
All right. Question number 17. What does Darth say to his opponent in a debate if something is, oh boy, here's that word, definitional? I've heard that word a few times from Darth. If something is true by definition, there is no need to explain it any further. Or if something is definitional, it requires more of an explanation. I think the first one sounds more appropriate, actually. So let's try that one. Let's give that a go. Oh, Darth, educate me, sir, please.
Doesn't make it more or less coherent. We know, for example, that God cannot do this because God is subject to those very same laws, and he cannot break them. Therefore, he is subject to them.
Are there laws that are metaphysically primary?
Yeah, we've been over them.
Okay. Well, stating the laws of logic would be universals. Do you know? Okay. How do you know any universals exist?
Well, anything else is incoherent.
I'm still waiting. How do you know that there are universals?
Because the opposite is incoherent.
Yeah, that's just definitional.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Failure.
In all places.
Well, if logic don't hold in all times and all places, then from your worldview, why should I accept any of your logical claims when they are undergirded by when invoking the principle of identity or non-contradiction?
Well, I don't know how you vote than I am, because you haven't demonstrated why you have this knowledge. You just said that you were just saying ifs. So
no, I don't have to demonstrate it because it's true by definition.
Oh, the laws of logic are true by definition?
No, the laws of logic would be true by the Christian God exist. Then they are true by definition.
Well, how do you verify that? Well, wait.
Failure. Well, 3 more questions. And it says, even I can't pass this quiz due to the impossibility of the contrary. I disagree. You know what? Darth is right. Darth is always right. Sir, this is slander upon your website, and you should reconsider this. If Darth was to come in here and do this quiz and live stream, he would be able to reconcile all of these apparent contradictions. I have no doubt of it. So this is just slanderous on your website, sir. Okay, bonus question, extra credit. The following question is not counted. Oh, well, at least it's not counted. At least this one I don't have to worry about going against my score here. It's not counted against you if I answer incorrectly. This question is not a multiple choice. You must type your answer in the field below. If you do not know the answer, just leave the field blank and click on the little radio button and then click on submit. Question number 18. What was Darth able to reduce about the real existence of reality and or the ultimate truth of reality? Oh boy, type your answer in the area below. Okay, what was Darth able to reduce about the real existence of reality and or the ultimate truth of reality? I feel like I'm just gonna say God, because that's the one absolute ultimate thing that we all truthfully know. So I'm gonna put God. Oh, and that's wrong too. That's wrong too. That's wrong too. I just can't win here. It says, sorry, wrong answer. Darth does not know the meaning of the words reduce, real existence, reality, and ultimate truth of reality. Oh, I don't believe that. So we would not be able to understand the meaning of intelligible of this question. See videos below. You know what? I need proof of this because I don't believe any of that slanderous nonsense could possibly be true.
An idea. Okay, so you're saying that here does not mean obviously that things are changing or not in flux. So how do you reduce the uniformity of nature? How would you reduce that?
I don't know what you mean by reduce.
Standing, okay?
Fire away.
I asked you, something is either A or it's not A. You accepted that. All I did was plug in some values, and you're either not accepting or you're rejecting it, which would be a contradiction. When I take A, something is either A or not A. What I'm saying is a fact, A, is either unconditionally non-dependent, right? Excuse me, a fact is unconditionally non-dependent, or it's dependent. It's either A or not A. Do you accept that statement?
I think what I would say is yes, with a caveat. So, for example, this pen is real. That's a fact. And
what does it mean to be real?
And what I would say is,
oh my goodness. Well, that's. I mean, that was pretty clear cut right there. He was holding a pen and saying that was real, and he said he didn't know. Then he said he didn't know what was real. So that's difficult. Well, how about existence? Let's see this one.
Listen, when you keep on saying existence, that doesn't mean anything to me. So this is the fourth time. Now, in previous conversations, you have repeated this over and over again. When you say existence, I don't know what that means. So, what is it?
And what is the ultimate precondition of all facts, including reason?
Reality.
What is that?
It's reality. What do you mean, what is it?
What is it that ultimately exists that provides for all dependent states, including the capacity to see, breathe, and reason? What is it that is ultimate in your worldview?
Reality.
I don't know what that is.
I'm asking you,
or not.
What is it? Listen, what is it that all facts are derivative from?
The ultimate metaphysics, from metaphysics, from the ultimate truths of reality. Which is...
What is that?
The ultimate truths of reality.
What is that?
Again, there is the ultimate truths of reality.
I don't know what that is.
Well, there we go. That's your answer.
Well, I actually at one point had thought that I knew what reality was. I actually thought I had a pretty clear epistemological view. Apparently not. If my master doesn't even know what reality really ultimately means, I guess I have to concede that. I guess that's part of the presuppositional approach, is to abandon that concept. I am a fool. I am a fool, and I concede to it. We should abandon our understanding and knowledge of these words. Apparently, that is counterproductive to our mission and our goals. So I will have to keep that in mind. Darth set me straight here and through this quiz of yours, Debunked. Thank you. Well, let's continue. We're almost done. Let's wrap this up. Question 19, bonus question, extra credit. The following question is not counted against you if you answer incorrectly. This question is not a multiple choice. The following is a list of items that Darth says or admits he doesn't know about. Oh boy. Please read the, well, I know God can't be one of them. Please read the list and then answer the question below. Darth doesn't know what real means. Darth doesn't know what reality means. Darth doesn't know what reduce means. Darth doesn't know what existence is. Darth doesn't know what self-evident means. Darth doesn't fully understand God's properties and attributes. Darth doesn't fully understand the hypostatic union. Darth doesn't fully understand the divine nature. Darth doesn't fully understand the mind of God. Darth doesn't fully understand the mind of humans. Darth doesn't fully understand the mind of humans, which would include every human and even himself. Darth doesn't understand what the ultimate truth of reality is. Darth doesn't know the intricacies of agency, and I love the way that that's phrased. Actually, that just flows off the tongue. Question number 19: what does Darth usually say to his debate opponents? Oh boy, here it comes. What does he usually say to his debate opponents when Darth asks them, "On what do you base your worldview and or reasoning on?" And they say, "I don't know." Oh boy. Boy, what does he say? I think I've heard a few different answers a few different times. What I got to think about this. What would Darth do? What would Darth Dawkins do? What would Darth Dawkins do? I think he would say that they have no basis for reasoning.
So you're here today, reasoning with me, based upon, quote, I don't know. If your reasoning is derivative of I don't know, why should I pay attention to your reason?
Well, I guess that one, can I get credit on that one, Debunk? Because I think I had said something similar to that he doesn't have any valid reasoning. Can I get credit for that one?
Well, I don't really want to give you any credit that you don't deserve, and also, again, I don't want this to sound, personal, but you are really pathetic.
Well, I have to admit it. I think even Darth told me I am, and you're now proving it, because I am taking just everything that I have tried to glean from his incredible, superior genius teachings and apply them here in this quiz today. I have done my best effort to be a good disciple to what he has taught, and I'm just failing. I'm just failing. I wish Darth would do a video destroying this quiz so that I could be corrected and extolled, and that so all of us could understand how he reconciles this, because I think the rest of us that are below him in his intelligence and capabilities, we can't wrap our heads around what he was trying to say. We need him to teach us, because to us it looks like a contradiction and it looks like a failure, but I know the presuppositional approach is correct, and it is infalsifiable, and that what he has taught about it is absolutely correct. So the error must be on me. It can't be anywhere else. It absolutely must be on me, and I'm willing to accept that and sincerely apologize to my mentor Darth for failing him so disastrously in this. I hope that he would be able to educate me on some of this. Question number 20. What would Darth tell you if you say that something must be so due to the impossibility of the contrary? Well, it says, according to Darth, it's called a reductio ad absurdum. That sounds about right. It is a type of indirect line of reasoning that a proposition is presented and the denial or non-acceptance of the proposition leads to unintelligibility and incoherency. Establishing the proposition. A reductio ad absurdum is a valid line of reasoning, not only in courts of law, but in history as well as in philosophy. Well, I think I kind of agree with that. Or the second one, according to Darth, if one says that something must be so due to the impossibility of the contrary, that would just be definitional. Oh boy, that's actually a tough decision, and this is the last one. I don't want to fail masterfully on this last question. Oh boy. I feel like the top sounds a bit more complex. It sounds like something he would probably say and rely upon. And I'm just going to accept that maybe I just don't have the capacity to really sift out how incredibly valid and poignant that point actually is. And I'm going to say that that's got to be it. Oh, no, apparently not. Okay, well, let's see what he said.
Doesn't make it more or less coherent. We know, for example, that God cannot do this because God is subject to those very same laws, and he cannot break them. Therefore, he is subject to them.
Are there laws that are metaphysically primary?
Yeah, we've been over them.
Okay. Well, stating the laws of logic would be universals. Do you know? Okay. How do you know any universals exist?
Well, anything else is incoherent.
I'm still waiting. How do you know that there are universals?
Because the opposite is incoherent.
Yeah, that's just definitional. What I said was earlier that I gave a reductio ad absurdum as the proof for the Christian God. Are you familiar with what a reductio ad absurdum is?
No, I'm not.
Okay, reductio ad absurdum is a type of indirect and direct line of reasoning that the proposition is presented, and the denial or non-acceptance of the proposition leads to unintelligibility and incoherency, establishing the proposition. A reductio ad absurdum is a valid line of reasoning, not only in courts of law, but in history, as well in philosophy. So I would assume that you would not reject
I'm sorry, are you suggesting that if we let Penny stay, we might succumb to cannibalism?
No one ever thinks it'll happen until it does.
Penny, if you promise not to chew the flesh off our bones while we sleep, you can stay.
What? He's engaging in reductio ad absurdum. It's the logical fallacy of extending someone's argument to ridiculous proportions and then criticizing the result, and I do not appreciate it.
Oh, well, there it is. Well, there it was. There it was. And yet, once again, I am proven a failure. I am proven a failure. I attempted, I tried to apply the teachings that I thought I had gleaned and the logic that I thought had been given to me from Darth and his brilliant presuppositional approach, and I have failed. I have failed, and you have helped me debunk. You know, you've corrected me. You've shown me the teachings of my master that I apparently had been getting wrong this whole time, and I have to stand in a state of being corrected, and I have to submit to you, sir.
Well, yeah, I just hope that you appreciate my, all the positive feedback that that I've been given to you, and I just want to say, that was the last question. So, what I'd like you to do, for all the millions of people right now that are watching this, I want you to say to them, I just want you to say, I am pathetic.
I am pathetic. I am absolutely a dumpster fire of philosophical contradiction and a low-thinking, inbred moron that cannot possibly decipher the perfect epistemology that is presuppositionalism, and I concede to that, absolutely.
Yeah, you need to get a refund at your college. Remember that. Okay?
Yep, I think I might have to send them a letter tomorrow. I might, along with a long apology and also the clip of Darth Dawkins calling me a moron, because I think he is the best judge of character. He's the one that says so, and I trust everything he says. So I think I need to definitely consider that debunked. I think you made a good argument there.
Okay, now check your score. Go ahead and check your score.
Okay, let's check my score. Okay. That completes the quiz. Yay! The reason why you cannot pass this exam is due to the impossibility of the contrary. For example, questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, and 17, and 20 are impossible to answer correctly. Well, sir, now you fooled me, apparently. And it goes on to say, due to the impossibility of the contrary, questions 8, 9, and 15 are impossible to answer incorrectly. In fact, everyone answers them correctly. Currently, there are a total of 20 questions on the quiz. Questions 18 and 19 are not counted against you. Well, the scoring formula is 100%, 18 number of total questions, 5.5% for each correct answer. Well, we know we got nowhere to that. I think we had a 3, right? I could answer 3 correctly. Would you give me 3? Do I think I had 3?
Yeah, that would be 3 multiplied by 5.5 equals 16.6%, and you needed at least a 16.7 to pass this.
Well, that would be a failing grade. Or is it a failing grade? I don't know if I'm smart enough to decipher that. Is that a failing grade?
Yes, sir, that is a failing grade.
Oh, well, I did so well in high school and college. I was told that I was slightly gifted in some ways. Apparently, this is just all wrong. All my teachers have lied to me. I am a fool, sir. I am a fool, and I have failed miserably. Godless is here. Godless, is there anything you wanted to contribute?
You guys are hilarious.
Well, I appreciate it.
You're quite unique characters. You're really funny.
Thank you, Godless. Appreciate it. Well, I only have to concede to the masters. I'm new at this. I'm a brand new little spudling. And you know what? When the great Darth Dawkins says it, it must be so. Right, Debunked?
That is absolutely correct.
Well, so there we go. So I guess we have it. Well, I think this was a wonderful, fun time, actually, and a nice success. I want to appreciate you coming and doing this, Debunked, and certainly showing me the disgusting, just erroneous error of my judgments of presuppositionalism. Thank you. You've done a wonderful service to the movement today, sir.
So my suggestion now is what I want you to do when you get a chance, go back again through the quiz. You know what the answers are that are wrong. So I want you to go back and then answer all of them correctly, and then you'll be fine.
Well, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try to do that as well, and try to glean more from the master, because apparently I'm just again, Darth called it. I'm a moron. I'm not smart enough to catch on to this stuff, and he's got it all figured out. I guess he just likes to keep the knowledge from us. He kind of just likes to know how to reconcile all this himself, and I wish he would show his incredible benevolence and share it with the rest of us. And tell us how to reconcile it, because I'm now a lost disciple. I don't know where to go or where to turn, because I thought I had it down so well watching all of his debates, but apparently by his own words, I have just completely misrepresented him and misunderstood him the entire time. I admit that I am just an absolute failure. I have to concede for the evening, and I appreciate you, Mr. Darth Dawkins Debunked, being willing to come in here and expose my complete and utter absolute stupidity.
Okay, well, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, with that, folks, no, go ahead, Godless. You just want to leave with a final thought? Anything else to say?
Oh, you're ending the show?
Well, I was only intending it to be about an hour long. Unless you want to talk about something and stick around, I don't mind extending it.
Oh, no, that's okay. I wanted to compliment you about something that was unrelated to this. Well, I want to compliment both of you.
Let's do it in.
Darth Dawkins Debunked. I want to compliment him for. You must have spent a lot of time on that. Like, I know the website isn't very good quality, but how many hours total do you think you spent making videos and the website and stuff?
Oh, it was literally weeks. I mean, I think I started this early last year. I think it was maybe February of last year, and I really didn't complete it till probably June or July. Really, I didn't complete it. There was a few things that I added onto it, so it was months. It was literally 8 or 9 months.
It has the type of formula of the type of thing where you really did put some thought about it, like you actually did outline it. And you did a lot of consideration of exactly how you worded everything. And I actually do appreciate that, because there is a lot of wording in there that you really have to be paying attention to actually glean what is really being meant by it. But I understand what you were saying. You were trying to draw attention to those core bone points of each one of those arguments. And I thought you actually did a pretty darn good job at that.
Okay, well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and I changed that correction you wanted me to make in the description.
Oh yeah, I did notice that. Thank you also, Gigi. Thank you.
And Smokey, my compliment to you was, when I first met you, I thought maybe you were one of those Christians that's like too polite. You were going to be one of those Christians that might get boring at some point because you would be like too polite. But when you were fighting that Muslim in my Discord server, you were not letting him get away with any bullshit. You were staying right on point, and you were getting mad. That was crazy. That was amazing.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I get like you, Godless. Once you start getting spoon-fed nonsense, you start to lose your temperament for it. And at a certain point, it's time to put an end to the horse hockey. So
yeah, especially when they start to be dishonest.
Exactly. At that point, the gloves can come off, and I have no issue with that. So yeah, no. I am absolutely gracious, benevolent, and passive, but not to a fault. My kindness is not an example of weakness. So people would be good to remember that. I will throw down if someone is saying blatantly false or untrue or contradictory things. So yeah, but I appreciate
the show
that.
Was great. You guys have a good night.
Awesome. Thank you, God.
Okay, thank you.
Well debunked. I think we did good. I had a couple questions, maybe just to run by you, and we can maybe just go ahead and take this to an extra hour and a half.
Okay.
At the hour and a half mark, we can maybe call it an end. But I just wanted to ask you a couple quick questions while I have you here.
Okay.
What was your interest originally in doing this? What kind of instigated your interest in wanting to kind of create this website?
Well, at first I had heard Matt Slick. I think he was the very first one that I'd listened to, that had anything to do closely related with this. And I heard his video, some of his videos, and so it was very interesting. I didn't know very much about it when I first started. I knew nothing. I was totally clueless. But then I also went on to hear 𝐃𝐄𝐁𝐔𝐍𝐊𝐄𝐃 and others, and so that's when I really got interested in it, because Sai was saying things that I had never heard before. So actually, a lot of the precept that I am aware of actually came from Sai as well as Darth. So once I heard Darth, though, he is, well, all of them have a different approach, but Darth's approach is very unique. And so I decided that I wanted to do a little a little more research about Darth's approach. And so once I did start investigating his whatever he had to say, I tried to look at everything in context. I tried not to focus on just one thing, because I know that is a big issue for him, is to look at everything in context. Now, I do apologize because my website, it really, somebody told me that my website looks like a 12-year-old put it together.
Well, Darth said that. Darth is the one that said
that, by the way. Well, I think it's more like a 6-year-old. Yeah. Yeah, so I do apologize.
That's okay. Well, no, I mean, the substance, it clearly shows an amount of hard work on your part, like you did. And I guess, to get a deeper level to the question I just asked you, I mean, do you have an ethical or an emotional dog in this fight? Is there kind of something that's pulling you to this particular project amongst the plethora of other things that you could do?
Yeah. The moral and ethical relationship is that I have been a person that always has a value about truth. That's the main thing, is truth. So I did notice that Darth, he does speak a lot about truth. That's one of his core pillars. So that was what really actually made me interested in doing this site, because he does speak a lot about truth.
He does. No, that's true. That's absolutely true. Now, you had mentioned just in passing there 𝐃𝐄𝐁𝐔𝐍𝐊𝐄𝐃, which, I'm familiar with in some of his other debates and considerations. And you had said that you're actually working on another project for him as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. Do you want to say anything about that? Just, I mean, you don't have to give us any details, but I mean, is there anything about that site that you think is poignant, or one thing you want to throw out there that you think kind of summarizes your kind of look of 𝐃𝐿?
Well, he's got a little different approach, and so it actually, for me, it's been a little more difficult to analyze what he says versus Darth. I think Darth's approach is much more easy to analyze and to break down. It's not very complicated, but I think psi is a little more sophisticated, so it's a little more difficult to find the contradictions or the inconsistencies or whatever the case may be. But for me, for me personally, it was a little more difficult. Now,
Well,
maybe for other people, maybe that might not be.
Maybe that's something that you and me could soundboard off a little bit in the future, because I certainly have a few perspectives on both of them that might even improve your content a little bit. So we'll discuss that maybe a bit. Because Psi 10, actually, you probably don't naturally realize this, but Psi 10, in a roundabout way, is actually a softer target. From a theological standpoint, of course, I mean. And that's because he's also very, very fundamentally Calvinist. So there is something to be said about that in terms of attempting to dissect his arguments. You see, it is important to me, at least, in terms of trying to understand the theological stance of other people in my religious group and also outside my religious group. It's very important for me to try to dissect the presuppositions that make up their beliefs. I like to find the reasons that they believe the things that they do, what their substantiations are. And it's a bit easier for me, I think, to actually do it with Psi 10 than it is with Darth. So maybe in some ways we have some things we could contribute together on that. But, Psi 10 has a very, fundamentalist Calvinistic approach. And what that does is that gives footholds into his presuppositional arguments that I don't think anyone has really necessarily seen or yet exploited to any significant measure in any of his debates. And that's simply because, Psi 10 doesn't debate Christians, or at least as much as I've seen. He primarily debates atheists. And he'll even say to atheists, when atheists challenge him on the Bible, he'll say something like, I don't do Bible studies with non-believers, or I don't do Bible studies with atheists, which is just an infinite dodge. It's just an infinite deflection, and it's very dishonest. I don't like it. I think there's nothing wrong with answering a theological, epistemological question from the Bible. If an atheist is not understanding the way it's supposed to align, I think that you should be capable and able to rise to the occasion and answer that, not avoid it and say, well, you have no basis to ask me that question anyway. That, to me, that's incredibly dishonest, and that's not a productive way to have a debate.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
It's dismissive. It's condescending. It's hurtful, and it damages the lines of communication between both sides. Because now the other side is looking for their gimmick, their one-upmanship thing, their indefensible, end-all, be-all, doesn't have to be substantiated nonsense. And then we have these two competing, indefensible, indestructible, rock meeting immovable object type of situation. And we have to watch this collision take place, and it's not pretty. And usually all of us get hurt in the process, and many times there's some type of violence. The best thing that can be done is we bring rationality and honesty and directness back to the debate, and we relegate the degenerates for what they are, and realize that the rest of us can engage in nice, interesting, productive conversations without having to be bothered by the opinions of those who shouldn't have their opinions valued because of their inferior character. Do you agree?
Oh, that absolutely. That sounded great. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I guess I didn't really have any questions. I was curious about your motivation. I was curious about where you stand. I do have one more question, and I want it to be the question we end on, because I don't want it to be the thing that takes up into a whole huge long thing, and I want you to be able to give a quick answer. And if you don't want to answer at all, you don't have to feel inclined to. What is your religious stance or belief system? Are you atheist, agnostic, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim?
Worldview X.
Can you elaborate that in one or two sentences?
No, I prefer not to elaborate that. I can let you know later offline. I will be more than happy to let you know. But
for the sake of right now, and for the sake of the audience, if I was to say, if I had a piece of paper in front of you with a list of all the religions in front of it, and the one at the very bottom said none of the above. Would you check that box?
Well, I can't really say that because I'd have to see the list first.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. I just figured we'd try to end on something a little dynamic like that. Okay, no, that's great. Well, Darth Debunked, sir, thank you for coming in. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for correcting my incredible stupidity through the words of Darth himself. I concede that Darth was absolutely correct. I am a moron. I hope everyone recalls. Last night on stream, on 2 separate occasions, I believe I did nothing but compliment Darth's intelligence. Did I not, Debunked?
That is correct.
In fact, actually, I think I pulled a clip. Hold on. I think I pulled a clip of it earlier. Let me play what I said last night. Hold on real quick. I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm not, in no way am I trying to impugn Darth. Or say that, let me go on the record by saying I think Darth is actually very, very smart. I don't think this is an intelligence issue here. I don't think Darth is dumb. And that's what I see being thrown around a lot. Darth's an idiot. No, he's not. He's actually very smart. He's actually very bright. He actually does know his stuff. There is a pride issue here. Okay. So that's what I said. There was a pride issue, but I said he was very smart. Did I not, Debunked?
You did say that, yes, definitely.
Well, there I am saying it, and I think I said it later on in the stream too. Did I not? I think I actually said it twice.
Yeah, that was at the tail end. That's correct.
Yeah, so I did say it twice. Well, let's, I found what Darth had said about me. Maybe I should play that real quick so that we know. This is Darth's opinion of me.
Smoky Saint, whatever his name is, who's a moron.
Oh, so apparently that's that's how we're going to exchange our opinions of each other. Apparently, well, I concede to Darth that I am a moron. I apparently proved it tonight. I definitely proved it in failing so disastrously at being able to take his information and apply it to this test and actually make the argument look good. I failed, so I have to concede. I have to admit it. Darth, I concede to you and your perfect judgment of my intellectual capacities. I am a moron, and I apologize to you, sir. And I want to thank you, Mr. Debunked, for coming in here and spending the time and going through this. You were a wonderful pleasure, and I look forward to hopefully doing something like this again with you.
Okay, well, I appreciate it very much. And anytime you'd like me back on, I'd be more than happy to come back on.
Beautiful. Sounds great. Well, you have yourself a good evening then.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Sounds great. Okay. Well, there we have it, folks. There we have it. I have been put in my place. I have been exposed by not only the master himself, but also the person who has claimed to debunk him. I am left in between a rock and a hard place. I cannot discern the truth. I am a lost disciple. I don't know what to do. I have lost a place to call my following, and now I believe there's nothing left for me to do but to slink off into the shadows and shame and failure. I appreciate all of you for being here and participating, and I hope you enjoyed. Take care, all of you beautiful, bright people who are all clearly far smarter than I could ever hope to be. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy yourselves, and may the grace and peace of Christ find